Imagine this for a second. A single number flashes across a quiet government screen. $200. Not for oil, not for gold, but for silver. And the people reacting to it aren't traders on YouTube or retail investors on Reddit. They're inside the Pentagon. They're inside Samsung's boardrooms. And the moment that number appears, phones start ringing, contracts start closing, and doors quietly shut behind the public. Because when silver turns into a war asset, you don't get an announcement. You get an exit. And today, that final silver exit may already be underway. Before we go any further, take 1 second and like this video. And subscribe to the channel. Market Truth Archives exist to document what usually gets buried, delayed, or explained away after it's too late. If you care about real market forces, not headlines, you'll want to stay connected. Now let's slow this down, because this story isn't about a price prediction. It's about behavior. And behavior is always the tell. For decades, silver was treated as the awkward cousin of gold, industrial metal, volatile, unpredictable, useful, but never strategic. That label quietly changed over the last 5 years. Not publicly. Internally. Inside defense planning documents. Inside semiconductor supply chain briefings. Inside national security risk models. Silver stopped being a metal and started being a dependency. Every modern battlefield runs on silver. Missiles, radar systems, satellites, drones, secure communications, power management systems, high efficiency. Conductors. There is no substitute at scale. You can replace gold. You can replace copper in some cases. You cannot replace silver without performance loss, heat failure, or system instability. And when militaries calculate failure risk, costs becomes irrelevant. This is where the so-called war bid comes in. It's not a public bid. It doesn't show up on COMEX screens. It shows up in internal procurement tolerances. The price at which supply must be secured, no matter what. Multiple defense-linked procurement models now show silver tolerance levels far above anything retail markets are pricing in. $200 isn't a target. It's a stress test number. A line that says, if supply breaks, this is what we're willing to pay. That changes everything. Because markets don't move on headlines. They move on who leaves first. Samsung didn't wake up one morning and suddenly care about silver. Samsung cares about continuity. About fabs running without interruption, about geopolitical risk, about Taiwan, about shipping lanes, about sanctions, about one missing material halting a $1 trillion ecosystem. Silver sits at the center of advanced chips, memory systems, and energy-efficient components. When Samsung restructures its long-term materials strategy, that's not optimization. That's preparation. Now, layer the Pentagon on top of that. The Pentagon doesn't speculate. It secures. When it aligns its material priorities with private industrial giants, that's a signal that supply isn't just tight, it's fragile. Here's the part most people miss. There is no giant stockpile of silver waiting to be unleashed. Above-ground silver inventories are thin. Mining production has been flat to declining in real terms. Recycling cannot scale fast enough. And unlike gold, silver is consumed. Once it's in electronics, missiles, or solar systems, it's effectively gone. At the same time, demand vectors are stacking. Defense AI infrastructure, energy transition, electric vehicles, medical technology. Each one alone is manageable. Together, they create pressure that doesn't release smoothly. It snaps. This is why you're seeing something unusual. Not a price explosion yet, but a silence. Fewer large sellers. More off-market contracts. More long-term supply agreements that never touch public exchanges. That's what an exit looks like. Not panic. Control. Public markets are still arguing about inflation, rates, and short-term charts. Meanwhile, strategic buyers are removing supply from circulation permanently. When that happens, price discovery breaks. The price you see becomes historical, not functional. Think about that $200 number again. It's not meant for you. It's meant for planners who ask one question. What price guarantees availability? In war planning, the answer is always higher than you think. And this isn't about a future war headline. It's about preparation cycles. The Pentagon plans in decades. Semiconductor giants plan in years. Retail markets plan in days. By the time price reflects reality, positioning is already done. Market Truth Archives has covered this pattern before. Rare earths, uranium, energy. The script is always the same. First comes quiet consolidation. Then comes restricted flow. Then comes a narrative shift. Only at the end does price move violently. And by then, participation is limited. If you're still watching this 4 minutes in, here's the uncomfortable truth. You're early, but not first. And that distinction matters. Because when silver is reclassified from a commodity to a strategic asset, normal rules stop applying. Volatility increases. Liquidity decreases. Intervention becomes normal. And transparency disappears. That's why official statements remain calm. No shortage. Adequate supply. Market functioning normally. Those phrases appear right before markets stop functioning normally. Samsung's involvement matters because it bridges civilian and military demand. The Pentagon's involvement matters because it removes price sensitivity. Together, they form a floor that retail markets cannot see, but will eventually feel. Ask yourself this. If silver truly had no strategic risk, why lock in supply now? Why restructure contracts? Why accept higher costs quietly instead of letting markets handle it? Institutions only do that when uncertainty becomes unacceptable. This isn't a hype story, it's a logistics story, and logistics decide outcomes. As more supply gets locked away, price becomes less relevant than access. That's when you see strange things. Premiums disconnecting from spot delays. Force majeure clauses. Export controls. All the invisible mechanics that precede a visible move. The $200 war bid isn't a prediction. It's a confession that in a constrained world, silver is no longer cheap, abundant, or optional. And when exits happen at the top, they're loud. When exits happen at the bottom, they're silent. We're currently in the silent phase. If you're finding value in this breakdown, make sure you're resubscribed. Market Truth Archives doesn't chase trends. We track shifts before they become obvious. As we move toward the end of this video, here's the question that should stay with you. What happens when strategic buyers finish exiting the public market entirely? What's left for price discovery to work with? Because once that happens, silver won't move like silver anymore. It will move like oil during a crisis, like chips during a shortage, like energy during a blackout. Fast, dislocated, emotional. And the public will be told it came out of nowhere. It never does. If you have thoughts on this, drop a comment. Do you think silver stays an industrial metal, or has it already crossed into strategic territory? Share this video with someone who still thinks silver is just another chart. And stay tuned, because when markets stop talking, that's when you should start listening.